Hey, and welcome at the Pursuit of Healthiness Podcast. I'm your host, Winanda van Delft. I'm a health and mindset coach, spaghetti and ice cream lover, travel junk, and a cat mom. I love conversations that are on a more raw and deeper level. So today's guest is Colette. She is a free-spirited adventurer that started traveling in her early childhood. She dropped anchor in the Galapagos Islands, where she is a recognized guide and leader in the scuba diving world. She is now jumped on a mission to travel the world with her two little boys and is doing so by leading free souls into creating a level nomadic lifestyle through her online community. How she does that? Let's find out.
Awesome.
So hello and welcome to my podcast. I'm so happy to have you. How are you doing?
Hi, Winanda. Nice to meet you. Thank you for having me here today. I'm doing great. Excited about joining you today. A beautiful day around here.
That is cool. So tell us a little bit about yourself, because I already know a bit about you, of course. But
Okay, so basically, if I resume my life in a few minutes, I was born in France, but my parents moved to Ecuador. I was a baby. So I grew up in Ecuador. And then when I was about 15, I moved to the Galapagos Islands, where I became a dive guide and a naturalist guide. So I've always been in traveling. That was when I was 15. I already started working, and I've always loved traveling. So I've been a guide on the islands for over 20 years.
wow.
And this also gave me many opportunities to travel overseas, because I joined quite a few sailboats all across the Pacific. So that's one of my biggest adventures that I have done.
Wow.
Sailing across the Pacific on small boats. And then my love of adventure has always been there ever since I was a child, because my parents then divorced. And from 7 to 14, I was living in France, and my father was living in Ecuador with my brother. So I was moving back and forth in between the two countries. So really, travel for me meant always happiness. It was just like the synonym of happiness, because it was being able to go back to seeing my family and to the place that I really love and all that. So by the time I was in Galapagos, every time I would have an opportunity to travel, I will take it. And this, I went all across the Pacific to New Zealand quite a few times. And then I became a mom one day. And I was like, oh my God, I cannot travel anymore. It's like, yeah, well. So I stopped traveling for a while, about 6 years, I would say, or maybe 3 years. I stopped traveling. And then with my husband, things were not going so well. So we kind of like said, well, why don't we just travel the world together and just hit the road and go to a different place, or maybe move to New Zealand. But things didn't go as planned, as we were flying out of the Galapagos Islands and in transit towards New Zealand. Our marriage broke up, and I had to start it all over again in a new city. It was just a sudden thing. It was just something that I tried to fix in my marriage, but the marriage wasn't working. So I gave up, and I just quit the traveling with him. So then I have to settle down as a single mom in a new city with two kids, a 3-year-old and a 7-month-old. And I established myself in Quito, which is the capital of Ecuador. And I had nothing else than the kiddos and one suitcase. So it was a game over. It was very difficult to get back on my feet after that. I was really on survival mode. And then about 3 years later, when I finally got back on my feet, I was able to start to go back to the Galapagos Islands and continue working. Because when you become a mom, you're like a mom. That's it. It's like, hey, that's the mom of this and that. It's like, hey, you're the mom of this and that. Yeah, but
it's like your
what
new
about
identity.
me? Like, who am I? You lose your identity, kind of. So I was able to go back to diving in the Galapagos, and then I felt like, okay, this is really what makes me happy. And if I'm happy, then my kids will be happy. Yeah. So then about 3 years later, my kid was about now 6 years old. I was like, I need to find a solution. I need to find something that works for all of us, because I was happy by going to the Galapagos and traveling, but that meant my kiddos were staying home with a nanny. So they were not happy. Okay, because not only they didn't have their father with them anymore, but now mom was also going away and leaving them with a different person at home. So this wasn't working. And I turned and turned around in my mind, and I was like, what else can we do? So it's like, okay, well, I'd like to travel the world with my kids because I would love to share these experiences with them. I have this natural born curiosity of the world. And if I can share this with my kiddos, then it will be amazing because it will be something that will really reinforce our bonds and make us connect on a deeper level. So it's like, that's why I chose that. And then I started planning this. I talked about it with the kiddos. It's like, what about we go traveling the world and all that? And what would be the places you would like to go to? And this, and we respected all the choices of each one of the kiddos. So everybody had their like little list of things they want to do. Like my youngest is now 7 years old and my oldest is 10 years old. So we started traveling about a year ago, but bad timing. COVID.
Yeah.
So yeah, our plan was to start our trip on April 1st this year. So very bad timing because as in many other parts of the world, we started with the lockdown just 2 weeks prior to our departure date.
Yeah.
So that's sad. How I kind of like stopped, but it's like nothing is gonna stop me now. I'm like, I'm gonna go for it. It doesn't matter. The bags were ready. It's like, doesn't matter. We're going to at least live in travel mode, you know? And I think it's really important. And the major thing here is the mindset, because it's the way you see things, the way you see things around. You can either choose to be miserable because you cannot do anything, because you're locked down and you have no permission to go out, or you can choose to be happy and just take all the things that you have around yourself that will actually make it beautiful. It's like, I chose to be here. I did the first lockdown in the Galapagos Islands with my kids. And then I'm like, okay, second lockdown, where will we go? Because it's like, we knew that there was going to be a second lockdown. And all the options that we first planned were out of question. So then the only option left was France. It's like, okay, we have the French passport. What about we go to France, kiddos? It's like, yeah, we want to go to France. The food is so good, Mom. We want to go eat the saucisson and cheese and all this stuff. It's like, yeah, Mom, let's do that. So that's where we are at the moment. It's been now 3 months that we are in France. And we're just taking the positive side of it. It's like, we knew that we were going to stay here, but instead of eating bananas and papayas, now we're eating bread and cheese and nice wine for me as well. So I'm happy.
Yeah, wow, that's nice. So you said that in the beginning, you left your kids alone when you were traveling. Did you got a lot of comments about that? Because I know a lot of moms have kind of a mom guilt, or people judge them for choosing themselves. How did you handle that? Did you get that response as well?
Yes. It was very difficult to decide to start traveling because, yes, not only traveling the world is something weird for any person, but
I love it.
but accepting that the other people accept that you are a single mom traveling around the world with your 2 boys. It's like, what are you thinking of? Are you crazy, Colette? You're going to just ruin these kids and their education. And so I had to be very brave. But one thing that really got me into really following my dream is that I found online with a Facebook community, I found so many amazing groups of single moms traveling the world. And then I was not alone. Suddenly, it wasn't just me, the crazy weirdo that wanted to do this, but it was 5,000 of us that were doing it. And I'm like, that changes the whole perspective. And so into the planning, I really decided to do this trip when I just joined this group of amazing moms, because we would become a part of a community and we would support each other, and moms that are all over the world and that are doing it. And so it was like, okay, if they can do it, I can do it. And also by connecting, it was just amazing knowing that no matter where I am in the world, I am not alone, because I have this amazing community just at one finger, one click away from my phone. And then I have a mom that I can call at any time of the day or night, because we are all in different times of the world.
Yeah.
So even if it was 1 o'clock in the morning for me and I was sleepless because I was worried about this, it's like I could go online and just like start chatting with some moms, and they will go like, no, you can do it. This is easy. This is that. And the same backwards, you know. It's like, hey, emergency. My kid is sick. I don't know what to do. I am in this country. What is going on? What should I do? There's always a mom there that will answer you. Don't worry. Do this, do that, do that. So that was the major breakthrough into like doing it.
Yeah, of course. And how do you think it affects your children? Because I love to travel as well. And I believe that no matter how old your children are, you can travel the world. Like, I don't believe that once you become a parent, you have to be stuck at home. And like you thought in the beginning, you cannot travel anymore. I think showing your kids the world and different countries and different foods, I think that will shape them more as a person and make them kind of even nicer persons, if that makes sense. I don't know if my belief is that,
totally.
but yeah.
No, I agree with you. I totally agree with you because, well, the thing is that I've always traveled even as a young age. So for me, it's nothing different, you know? But if I compare it to other kids, classic kids and classic families that stay forever in the same place, then I can totally see the difference. It's like I was traveling and I started working when I was 15. So I dropped school. And I've never had any issues with that, you know, without finishing my studies or anything. I am trilingual. I can, so I guide tours in English, in French, and Spanish. And this was never an issue for me. So, and I met always really amazing people that were always into the travel industry. Obviously, I was working in tourism. And these kiddos that are just traveling the world, they're so open. It's like they're little sponges. So they will grab all this information. And I think kids have a natural curiosity, but like, you know, it's like we stop it. It's like the way it's so for me, it was all the questions like, Mom, how does this work? It's like, have you been in the Statue of Liberty? Did you know that? Like, who built it? It's like, hey guys, I don't know, but we can figure it out. We can find out. And why don't we just go and see it for ourselves? And happens that when we did the research a little more, then I knew, but I didn't remember that. For example, the Statue of Liberty was a gift from France to the US, you know? So it's like, oh, wow. And then right now in the city we are, there is a mini Statue of Liberty that is the same from the same person that sculpted it. So it's like, hey, kiddos, what about this? So there is learning everywhere. And my kids are already bilingual. They speak French and Spanish, okay? Yeah, French and Spanish. And one of my goals was like, okay, I need structure because everybody's asking me, it's like, oh, what are you going to do? You're crazy. You're going to sell all your belongings and you're going to go and you have no place to go. What happens if you want to come back or anything? So it's like, I'm okay, but I'll give you a plan. You know what, guys? I'm going to go for a sabbatical year. And then when I turned it into like, I'm going to go for a sabbatical, everybody was like, oh, okay, well, if it's just a 1-year project, that's okay. That's acceptable, you know?
Yeah.
But it's a sabbatical with no end. So basically, I said that, you know, I take the kids out of school. And one of the major things also is that my oldest one has always been struggling with school. This is from the beginning of his life with the divorce that we went through. He suffered so much from this divorce. So he's got a lot of emotions and a whole lot of learning difficulties. And then obviously this wasn't working for him. So that was another reason why I was like, well, if this is not working for him, I'm paying so much for this school. You know, it's a private school in Ecuador. It's so expensive. I'm paying like $700 per month for their education and they're not getting anything good out of it. Plus now I have to pay the therapist and the person that helps him with homework and all that. I'm like, that's a huge amount of money I'm spending there that if I wasn't spending, that would be a whole lot of money to explore the world and really learn the things that we can enjoy, and I can do it with them. Because it got to a point that the only reason for me to go and work was to be able to pay the education. So I said, okay, let's just take the school out and then I don't have to work because then I don't have to be away to pay this education. And then let me be with you 24/7 and then we can learn so many more things by traveling the world and discovering. So the first year was planned to go first in the US and Canada so my kids could learn English. I said, if you only learn one thing in 1 year, that is a third language, I will be the happiest mom ever because I will feel that you have learned something. And the most beautiful is that they will learn it no matter what, without struggling that it's like, oh, mom, I don't want
You
to
have to
do this
make a
lesson or
test
anything. It's just
and stuff
completely
like that.
natural.
Yeah.
Completely
Yeah.
natural. So that was the idea.
I love that. Yeah. Yeah. So, isn't it that children have like the duty to go to school? Because I've been looking into that as well for my sister, but even when she would move over to where I am, she still has to go to school and stuff like that. So how is that working?
Exactly. So that's working. Well, basically, when you become a digital a nomad itself, you are never really in a country for more than 3 months, or however long the visa allows you to be there
Yeah.
as a tourist. And so, as a tourist, then no one is going to come and just ask you, like, you must put your kids in school.
Yeah.
Okay. So that's how you kind of work. So basically, the idea is that we have a slow travel pace. Okay. We find a place that we enjoy, we just stay there. So in this case, we are here in France, and it happened that the lockdown was coming. So we said, you know what? It's like, yeah, we're going to stay here this time. We want to do a whole season in France, because with the lockdown and anything, there is no point of us trying to travel anywhere else.
Yeah.
What about kiddos? What would you think about like going and exploring a French school? Because that's also part of the adventure. We were like, well, world schooling is also learning and seeing the differences in between all these school systems. And so they were like, yeah, that is so fun, mom. We want to go. And that's why I am here on my own this morning, because they're at school. It's been 2 weeks that they started school. It's a free public school. So that's amazing, because in France, all kids are welcome. Doesn't matter if you're a foreigner or anything. So this is something also I can totally recommend when you're traveling the world with your children, is that you put them in the school. The local schools, they will be welcome. They will learn the language. They will make so many friends. It will be a very, very good way for you to have an integration into the community as well. Because right now it's like every morning that I go, it's like everybody saying, hello, hey, how you doing? Because even more, we are in a small town. So they're like the little guys that speak Spanish. And they're like the new stars of the town, you know?
Yeah. That's funny. Yeah, I think it's really great that you're doing that, because I believe you learn so much more from actually doing stuff instead of just being at school, learning from the books and all that kind of stuff. It's you learn more life lessons when you travel the world than just staying stuck at home and at school. I think you're doing an amazing job. I love it. You are an example.
Thank you.
So
Thank you. Basically, it's amazing, because, like, for example, all the life skills, like my kids know how to cook everything. And this is for me something so normal, but I guess it's because I was like that since I was a child. But then all other mamas are like, how do you do this, Colette? It's like, don't your kids cook? I mean, don't you do that with them? It's like, that's obvious. But the life skills for me, now I understand, because now that my kids are going to school system in France is quite long. It's like they go from 9 to 4:30 p.m.
Yeah.
So that's a long day. So now I understand why. Well, then kids, obviously they come, they have to do their homework or something, and then the day is done.
Yeah.
There is no time for all these other things to include into the day-to-day. But all the time that we have been without schools, or in Ecuador, the school was only in the morning. So I always included my kids in all the life skills around the house, you know, and they learn how to do everything with me. I'm raising these little guys that, well, then someday they need to feed themselves, you know. It's like so many adults now don't even know how to cook properly. And then, yeah, last weekend I had breakfast in bed served by my kiddos, because they were like, shh, let's be quiet. Let's make a breakfast for mama. She's in bed.
So
and they brought me eggs and bacon. I'm like, woohoo, that's a major win. Thank you.
That is amazing. How is it affecting you mentally to be on your own and to leave your relationship behind, to quit your marriage while you were traveling and now on your own with your kids? How has been that for you as a person, not as a mom?
So
you.
Yeah, no, the mental issues have been difficult. It's been over 6 years now that I am divorced, and my youngest was only 7 months old, so that was really, really difficult. Big challenges, big depressions, I will say. I mean, I have been through hell and back, I would say, because it was just like a survival mode, you know. It was, I was in a new city, I had nothing but one suitcase and babies that were starving. So there was no time of thinking or just going and crying in bed, because there was no time for that. It's like, mommy, I'm hungry. So it was like just on survival mode.
Yeah.
But over these 6 years, it's been a huge journey into healing as well. So lots of therapies and lots of like trying to understand what is going on and what makes me happy. But it is difficult. It is difficult to be alone. And that's one of the things I have found, that by traveling, I get to meet also really amazing people. And wherever I go, I manage to create a community. And so I will attract like-minded people, you know. You know very well, like the vibration. And right now I'm in like such a beautiful vibration that everybody that I meet is just like, oh my God, it's like really, really on a deeper connection. And it's really like people that are like just here, like, thank you for being here with me. It's like I needed you, you know.
Yeah.
And so that helps a lot. But it has been very difficult, even for my kids. My oldest went through a huge depression, and just a couple of months ago, he went through some really, really, really deep, dark moments of even kind of making me even wanting to leave this world. And so that is how I find that this trip, this round the world trip, is not so much about like ticking the bucket list.
Mm-hmm.
It's really about finding yourselves. It's more an inner voyage into healing. The house here with the wallpaper, it's my grandma's house, but it's a house that no one lives in it anymore. But it's bringing me to my roots. And my kid also kind of had the worst anxiety scenes a couple of months ago, because it was just like questioning him about where he comes from, who he is into the family, and where he belongs and things like that. So it's a huge healing journey. And I think that is one of the amazing things, because like you just continue growing every single day. I am in no rush whatsoever to move to the next place, because I know that I have to heal so many things right now here before I will be able to move forward.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, wow. So that must be so difficult. So you're just trying to deal with it and find yourself, spend time with yourself and your kids, and yeah, wow. Amazing. Wow. Yeah. I don't really have other questions, to be honest. Like you were so open and you were so telling everything, and I'm just amazed about your story and how you do everything. I just want to say, yeah, wow, congratulations for doing all of this while you are on your own with 2 kids. And yeah, it's just amazing. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah. So if people want to connect with you, because I'm sure there are other moms out there that also want to travel or on their own or with their kids. So can they contact you, or how? Yeah.
Yes, sure. So one of the things I have been doing is that, I am 100% open on my Facebook page as Colette Moine. You can find me. We will add it in the comments. But what I have created now is a group on Facebook on the voyaging mom, how to travel the world full time. And then I will share my tips, because one of the other things that people think is that I must be super rich to be able to afford this lifestyle, you know.
Yeah.
And it's not the reality. The reality is that I am spending way less money living this way than when I was sedentary. No school, no car, no rent. That already takes like almost all my expenses.
Yeah.
A lot. And you know, with no rent means no house. No house means no fridge that is broken, or no electricity bills, or nothing that is related to that. As a house also is expenses of all the things that you need to put in the house. So a high travel is by finding different ways. So first, by creating community. So all my amazing mamas, I have like at least one in each part of the world, in each country. And then we look forward to spending some time together, because we are in the same situation as single moms. We know how difficult it is, and we become sisters, and then sometimes we will be hosting each other. That's what I did a year prior to my trip. I started hosting fellow mamas into my place, and this opened up also the option for me to go and be hosted in other houses. Another way that I will do it will be by house sitting. So I will be staying in beautiful houses for free. It's an exchange of service.
Yeah.
Or there is another way that is a workaway. So I have all these amazing tips, and I have created this group on Facebook to be able to show you that there's definitely a way to do this on your own without such a high budget. I am probably on a budget of around €1,000 per month. That would be it for me and my 2 boys. And I am happier than I have ever been, because I have no belongings, all the clothes that I have, I just take like in the second-hand store. And then when the season is over, I just go bring those clothes back, get another set of clothes for the new season or for the new country I may be in, and just have the basics that we need. And it feels so much lighter. It is, like you say, no stress, because I felt like also the regular life was very overwhelming, like every day running the errands, fixing the house, fixing the kitchen, taking care of the children, cleaning the toys, it's like everywhere. Right now, my kids' life fits in one suitcase. It's so much easier for them as well, because it's like, kids, it's time to pack up and to clean up a little bit. And then in 5 minutes, they put everything into the suitcase, they close it down, done, mom, it's ready. So it's even more simple for them, which gives us the chance to just focus more on the quality time that we spend together, instead of all the material things that are in our way. So every holiday would be about experiences. If we want to celebrate in a way, it will be an experience or an adventure. It won't be any material things, but it will be like just a week away or a weekend to do this or to do that and things like that. And then I really believe that this will be amazing memories for my kiddos as they grow older. And I wanted to do it at this age before they reach the teenager stage, in which they kind of need a bit more of the community and all their friends of the same age. But we're still bonding, and I'm hoping that we'll probably do this for maybe a couple of years. And then who knows what will happen, because there is no flow, there is no specific place I am going. There is not a travel itinerary. It's like go with the flow. That is another recommendation I can give you, is like leave everything open, because then if an opportunity shows up, you will be able to grab it, and that is very important, because lots of times people need structure. It's like, so I'm going to be here for 2 weeks, and then I'm going to be there for these other 2 weeks. And then just the day prior to your flight, you find these amazing people that say, hey, why don't you stay with us? And why don't we do this? And it's like, I can't. I am taking a plane tomorrow. It's like, no. Leave it all open. Opportunities will show up on the way, and that is the best way to travel, because once the opportunities show up, then it's just amazing. So that's all the tips I share into my group, the Voyaging Mom, and I am in the process of creating a membership site as well with all these amazing tips, but also the membership site will be about this community. So you have always someone on the other side of the phone that will be 24/7. There will always be someone you can connect with. So you'll never feel alone, because that is one of the feelings that you just mentioned. It's like, how do I do it alone? It's like, I don't feel I am alone. I am talking to you today, and every day I am talking to 10, 20 different persons. And I love it, because I am talking to people on the whole world. So I never feel alone, really. It's just like, it doesn't matter the time it is, one click away, and you connect with like-minded people. It's amazing.
Yeah, I love it. Okay, well, thank you so much. It was a pleasure to have you over here, and I'll leave all your details in the description box below. So if everyone or someone wants to contact you, then they can.
Thank you so much, Winanda. It was a pleasure to talk to you.
Thank you.